What is going on YouTube? Back with another Legion video for World of Warcraft. And Wowhead have actually been doing a lot of data mining. This whole week really has been so much content or information about the upcoming expansion has been leaked online. Well, leaked. I don't know how they get it. Or, maybe Blizzard is slipping a bit of info here and there. But either way, they have a system on their website now called the PvP Talent Calculator, as well as some other things, and I will be covering all the stuff that I find interesting, so make sure you subscribe to keep up to date with all the content. But for this video, like I said, we're talking about the PvP Talent Calculator, and we're going to look at Unholy, or what I like to call every healer's absolute worst nightmare by the look of this. Now, I don't think I've gone through every single class in particular. Like, some of the classes I don't really know. I've never played Paladin, so I wouldn't know, how some of the new abilities will work, or what they used to have, or, anything like that. But I am pretty familiar with Death Knights. I have been playing. You'll see some other content on my channel to do with Death Knights and Hunters, and things like that. So what we're going to look at in this video is the Death Knights and go over some of the new PvP talents coming. There's a new system. If you're unsure of that, be sure to just Google Legion PvP system. I'm sure you'll find all the information you need. But there is actual talents that we unlock as we rank up in PvP, okay? Now the first 6 I have found are the same for every single class, but then the rest change and are all different. Depending on what spec you're looking at. So as you can see here on the third, actually we'll start from the start. The first level, everyone gets a trinket. So humans will, I think at this stage, not be the most dominant, race in all of PvP. I think now that everyone's got the trinket, it's going to be a lot more varied. And you have a choice here. You can also choose from adaptation. As you can see there, all full loss of control effects with a duration of 5 seconds or longer will be removed shortly after being applied. So 1 minute 50 cooldown. Interesting. If you know when CC is coming, that sounds like it'd be pretty good. As well as there's just a straight out reduction there on that one. And these are, before we get into it, it's been data mined. There's nothing to say that this is, official, gonna be in the game when it comes to launch, but at this stage it's looking pretty promising, and you can get an idea, at least, even if they do change things, of what they're going for. So work your way down. You've got Train of Thought here, damage increased by 15%. If you get attacked, it cancels it. Increase haste or critical chance increased by 30% on targets above 80% health. So every class, every spec will have this. These are, 2 lanes to choose from. Now we'll move on to the actual Unholy one. So, Cadaverous Pallor. Damage taken from magical critical strikes are converted into a disease on yourself, dealing nature damage over time. So instead of having like a big burst coming your way, I think you can just spread it out, kind of like a Warlock's Dark Bargain. That's how I took that ability. Here we have Dark Simulacrum, or Simulacrum. Sometimes I pronounce that wrong, but this, as you can tell, because it's not in our bar, is now, not part of DK's setup. You have to actually spec into it if you want it, as well as Anti-Magic Zone. We also used to be able to choose that from our talent tree and have Dark Simulacrum, but now you have to choose between them. Now moves on to some of the good stuff, okay? So Necrotic Aura is just a 10 yards, 5% increased magical damage. And the next one is going to be the first talent I think a lot of casters in general, but especially healers, are going to have a hard time with. As you can see, if you read this, increases the cooldown of all abilities by 30% to all enemies within 10 yards. So if you get this onto a healer and they're under a lot of pressure and all of a sudden they're casting slower, it's just really going to add to the what they have to deal with. The next ability, Decomposing Aura. All enemies within 8 yards slowly decay, losing 2% of their max health every 2 seconds, stacks up to 10 times, lasts for 5 seconds. So, bit not sure on how this talent is exactly going to work. Do you spam it? Or is it if, you have 10 different DKs, they all pop it together, they can lose 2% of their max health, stacks up to 5 times. So I'm not really sure on that one, but you know, ticking away at their health. Just a different kind of dot, I suppose you'd call it, but it caps out, you know, at a limit. Moving on to the second last tier, Crypt Fever. This is another nasty one. Whenever enemies are healed while afflicted by your Festering Wound. Now, Festering Wound is a new, I believe it's completely new, system coming to the DKs, Unholy specifically, when they hit you with a Festering Strike, I believe. It's like a little mini, how do you explain it? You like put it on and then you can pop it with Scourge Strike and things like that. But if they get healed while it's on them, they're now taking shadow damage, and most healers, I believe, unless they're good and see that it's on their, you know, their person they're trying to heal, most of the people, the healers, will just accidentally heal them and actually damage their partner. So that's going to be nasty, especially paired with Heartstop Aura. All of a sudden, you're putting double pressure on the healers, and then moving down. Actually, we'll cover these other two first. Pandemic. When you use Outbreak, all enemies within 0 yards, that's not true, that's going to be changed, that's a typo. Afflicted by your diseases take 1 shadow damage, and the duration of your disease on them are refreshed. So they got to change the numbers there, so we're not really sure how strong that can be as of yet, but I'm sure they'll update it soon. Wandering Plague. Now this is a big one. I'm not actually going to read that because that looks very detailed. You can pause the video here and read it if you want. Sounds pretty interesting though. I did see that someone down in the comments, I believe, did mention it. But yeah, we'll move on to the final one because I'm really keen to talk about what is coming back. And you might have even seen it. It's the last talent you'll unlock. We're going to start off with Unholy Mutation for this talent tree. When your Virulent Plague is dispelled or ends its duration, a slime spawns, dealing 1000 nature damage and slowing all enemies within 8 yards by 50% for 3 seconds. So I'm not sure how long the that new plague of ours stays on the people, but if you can time this very well and slow them, as you can see, the slime lasts for 15 seconds. That's going to be really nasty and you know, 50% slow. So that's a nasty one. Deathstone. Summons a Deathstone at the target location for 3 minutes. Now the Deathstone will resurrect zombies to attack enemies within, again another typo, 0 yards every 5 seconds, lasting 3 minutes. So I believe it's just going to spawn one zombie at a time, and when they die their corpses explode, dealing a certain amount of damage within a certain yard range. So that's going to just add to the amount of pets and crazy gargoyles and stuff shooting at our enemies. Sounds like a really fun one, interesting. I wouldn't think something like this would be the strongest, you know, to choose from this tree when it comes to something like Arena. But, I mean, BG's, a couple of DKs popping this is going to be pretty insane. And the last one, the big comeback, Unholy has its, you know, its foundation back, is Necrotic Strike. So if you played before WoD at all, you'll know that you used to load up on these, you know, when healers are under a lot of pressure when you're going for a kill, because what you actually do is pretty much steal their healing. You know, when they try and, as you can read, a vicious strike that deals 50% weapon damage. So it's not the big, like that big of a hit, but it absorbs the next, some weird little, that is very interesting. I'm not sure what that meant to mean. But it absorbs a certain amount of healing received by the target last 10 seconds. And you used to be able to stack these. So, like I said, like I'm probably going to title the video, you've got Necrotic Strike. You've got Crypt Fever, which is, you know, when they try and heal with the dot on them, it damages them. As well as Heartstop Aura that reduces the increases the cast time of healers. You know, heals. Oh man, I feel sorry for every healer already. If it stays like this and it comes out, Unholy DK is going to be something to be very scared of once again. I mean, they're pretty scary now, but everyone's rolling Frost just for the straight out damage. Unholy sounds very, very controlling and can really like turn the tide on a match. So that's going to wrap the video up, guys. It's got me super, super excited for Legion. I've been reading so many like class updates and seeing what certain classes are going to bring to the table. Another one that I picked up is I'll cover it in a video coming out very shortly, but it's survival hunters, how they're changing to melee, and some of the abilities they're going to have with that. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up right here. Be sure to, like I said, subscribe to the channel to be looking out for the new Legion content that I will be producing. And if you wouldn't mind, thumbs the video up as well. Thanks heaps for watching, guys. I will see you next time.